My first night alone in my new townhome, it started in the middle of the night. A smoke detector with a dying battery. One chirp. Sharp and sudden in the silence. Chirp! And then 30 seconds of quiet. Then another chirp. Ugh. I put a pillow over my head. It didn't help. The next day, exhausted, I went looking for it. 3 units on my floor. The hallway echo made it impossible to locate. If you've ever been through a divorce, you already know what I'm talking about. That ambush, that chirp. So I got on my ladder and I stood under each detector and I just waited. Because here's the thing about that chirp. It doesn't come on a schedule. You can't force it. You just have to stand there and wait for it to happen. So I stood on the ladder for a very long time, and when it finally chirped, I knew exactly where it was, and so I changed the battery and it stopped. That is what divorce grief does. Not the acute grief from the early days. This one, the ambush grief, the kind that shows up years later in the middle of a perfectly ordinary Tuesday and pulls the floor out from under you, it doesn't roar. It chirps. Not constantly, not predictably, but just often enough that some part of you is always halfway listening for it. And when it hits, it doesn't matter how far you've come. It pulls you right out of the present and sets you down somewhere in the past. And then that voice comes. It says, "When am I ever going to be done with this? I thought I was further along than this. My kids are fine, my family's moved on, everyone else is just living their lives. Why am I still here dealing with this? Why is a perfectly good day still capable of being completely derailed by this?" What I want to talk about is that voice. Because that voice, my friend, is lying to you, and I want to show you exactly how. So here's what I believed for a long time. Every time the grief came back, I took it as proof that I hadn't done the work right. That if I really had healed, this wouldn't still be happening. That healthy people don't still fall apart over something that happened years ago. My family had moved on. My kids were living their lives. The people around me weren't lying in bed awake replaying anything. So what was wrong with me? Why was I still holding on to this? Why couldn't I just let it go the way everyone else seemed to? So I pushed harder, kept busy, reorganized closets, read every self-help book I could find, poured myself into work, routines, anything that would just fill the space. I got good at performing fine. I white-knuckled my way through the bad days and just waited for them to stop coming. But they kept coming. Not because I wasn't healing, but because I was misreading what was actually happening. You see, what I thought was old grief returning was actually something else entirely. It was a brand new grief. One I couldn't have felt before because I didn't know that loss was coming yet. The moment I understood that, something shifted. I wasn't failing at healing. My friend, I was grieving forward. But here's where it gets tricky. Because you see, once you stop believing the failure story, there's another one waiting. The victimhood story. And it's seductive because it's not entirely wrong. Something was done to you. Real losses happened. You didn't choose this. But I know that place. I recognize it the moment my thinking starts circling, replaying, rehearsing conversations that will never happen, building a case no one asked me to build. And I've learned to say, not today. This is not where I live. Because victimhood keeps you facing backwards and you cannot build what's ahead while you're staring what's behind you. Once I stopped treating every ambush as evidence of failure And I caught myself before the victimhood pulled me under. I could finally do something useful with the grief. And here's what I learned to do. Get specific. You see, I'm not grieving the marriage. I'm not grieving him, but I'm grieving the version of this holiday I thought I'd have. Or I'm grieving the family I thought would still be mine. I'm grieving the woman who had a seat at that table. You see, that's the difference. Vague grief lives in your chest and ambushes you again and again, where specific grief moves. You can name it, you can hold it, you can set it down. Give it a shape, because grief that has a name can be held. Grief without a name just holds you. And then when you're ready, one small thing. Not a plan, not a reinvention, one small action that belongs entirely to your present life, not your old life, your actual life now. Call someone who knew you after the divorce, not before it. Walk into a room where nobody knew you as wife or mom, just who you are today. Make one plan that's entirely yours, because you cannot wait for the world to hand you back your place in it. My friend, you have to build one small thing at a time, until you look up one day and realize you are standing somewhere that is genuinely, completely yours. You stayed through 3 videos and some of the hardest truth about what divorce actually takes from you. Not the legal stuff, not the logistics. The invisible losses. The ambush grief that hits years later. The friends who disappoint. The family you didn't know you were losing. The version of yourself you've been trying to find again. If you're still here, that tells me something about you. You're not looking for someone to tell you it's going to be okay. You are looking for someone willing to tell you the truth and then walk you through it. The grief will keep coming, but it will get further apart and it will get shorter, and one day you will know exactly what to do with it when the moment arrives. Not all at once and not in a straight line. You will look up and you will realize that you are standing somewhere that is genuinely, completely yours, built from every broken piece, that beautiful mosaic that could have only come from you. My friend, you are not behind. You are not broken. You are grieving forward. And that is one of the bravest things a woman can do. If this video names something for you that you've been carrying quietly, tell me in the comments. I read every one of them. And if you're not already subscribed, this is the moment. This channel exists for the conversations that nobody else is having about what divorce actually costs a woman and what it takes to rebuild. If you're ready to stop doing this alone, I have a link for my book below. It's written for the woman who's done the surviving and is ready to do the rebuilding. This is exactly where these 3 videos have just left you, and that is exactly where I will meet you.